What's up guys, this is Z-House from Gun Gamers. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the Tasmanian Tiger MkII chest rig. Now the MkII chest rig is pretty popular on the airsoft scene for people who are doing Russian and other foreign kits, but I feel like there aren't actually that many videos on it, and especially not on the Tasmanian Tiger version of the rig. Now my buddy Lane over at the BB Warrior has a couple of good videos on the MkII chest rig pattern, so I'm going to put those down in the description below as some supplemental material, but I'm specifically going to be talking in depth about the Tasmanian Tiger version of the rig because, quite frankly, I didn't feel like buying the replica ANA version, and I also didn't feel like hunting down a JTech because I'm not that hardcore about my impressions. So instead, I just bought the Tasmanian Tiger when it went on sale from JTQ Gear. And actually before this, I had a khaki one very briefly that I sold to get the multicam. But what I'm going to be talking about is, like I said, the Tasmanian Tiger MkII chest rig. This is the standard version, not the M4 version. And the standard version has these larger mag pouches that hold, as you can see here, 7.62 type AK magazines. They'll hold 5.45 type AK magazines. They will hold M4 magazines. And they'll even hold a handgun. I figured I would put all this different stuff in here just to kind of show off how much you can put in these pouches. As far as I know, G36 type magazines will work. I just don't happen to have any that I can test the fit with. The utility pouches on the side here are actually one of my favorite things about this rig, beyond anything else. For a very odd reason, perhaps. When I open up this utility pouch, my travel cigar case fits inside, which is awesome. Because I'm sure this doesn't apply to a lot of you, but every now and then I like to have some cigars with me mid-game, and you know, it's kind of cool that I've got a rig that I feel like was perfectly designed for my exact travel cigar case. But if we're talking about more practical applications, it also is plenty of room for, as we see on this side, I can fit 2 500 milliliter bottles of water in here, and the last game I wore this rig at, I had these two 500 milliliter bottles of water. I had a Enola Gay EG67 frag grenade, and I also had my phone in here. So these utility pouches give you an incredible degree of room, and in terms of their design, once I get this water out of here, you actually have molly webbing in here, so you could potentially attach a couple of pouches, or you could route pens through there, you could attach tourniquets, you could do all kinds of stuff, and you have this huge center pocket, and then you have this mesh divider on the front of the flap, and that mesh is a whole separate pocket that goes down, pretty much covers most of my hand, so you've got plenty of room in there for organization and building that into what you really need it to be. You can make one pouch an IFAK, and the other pouch you could have an MRE. So for any kind of use, you have more than enough flexibility with just the built-in pouches on this rig. The only pouch I use this rig with is this double pistol pouch, because if I'm running a handgun, I'll put my pistol magazines in there, and if I'm not, I'll put a speed loader and a multi-tool or a flashlight or any number of other things. But with just this configuration, you have so much room and so much customizability, even just in what you put where, that you don't really need much else. Some could argue this rig itself is possibly more than you need for airsoft. Or even if you're going to like a Milsim West event, you've got plenty of room here for whatever you want. So that's kind of the defining feature of this chest rig, is the fact that it has these built-in mag pouches and these built-in utility pouches. But other than that, it's actually very similar to an RRV style chest rig. So it's got the same type of foldable panel that you would find on an RRV. So it actually folds down into here, and you can bring it up. And just like on an RRV, you can bring up that center bib, and you can convert this actually to a front plate carrier because, again, like an RRV, it has the elastic and the ability to do that. I have an RRV though, and actually I think the Tasmanian Tiger is a better design than the RRV for the plate carrier capacity, because on the back here, the elastic that holds the plate on the front bib is far superior in terms of placement and way better in terms of security. Now, I don't run this in the carrier configuration, but it's just a better design for that. It's way better, distributes the weight. It doesn't have just that little sleeve up top that barely holds the top of the plate. It's just a better design. There's also a back panel available, so you can take these shoulder pads off and you can get a proper back panel that's all MOLLE webbing, and that also has a plate slot. So you can turn this into a full plate carrier if you really want to. I don't, so I have it like this. And then the other thing too is the internal padding of this is super nice. It has an air mesh that's multiple layers of this fabric mesh, and it comes together to form a really soft cushion. Again, far better than the RRV in my opinion, and far better than, frankly, most chest rigs. The padding on this rig in general is really on point. The shoulder pads are thick and cushiony. I think they've got a nice solid neoprene in there, which really helps distribute the weight on your shoulders. Even these sides, the air mesh, it does two things. One, it cushions everything, and two, it allows it to breathe. So it does a great job of both being breathable and very, very comfortable. So Tasmanian Tiger really knocked it out of the park, in my opinion, on the comfort factor and on some of the limitations of traditional RRV and bib chest rig designs that they really addressed very, very well. Continuing on about the quality of the rig, just everything that is on this rig, from the air mesh to the shoulder pads and the padding there, to the straps and the buckles and all the hardware, just everything is very well built, very top quality. You can tell that Tasmanian Tiger really put a lot of time and effort into manufacturing this rig. Nothing feels cheap. Nothing feels like it wasn't well thought out. None of the MOLLE spacing is off. All those zippers are really durable. I can't say as I have any complaints with the quality of this rig in terms of the manufacturing and workmanship. Let's talk about the sizing on this rig. Now the plate here is a standard plate size. I believe it only goes up to a medium. Maybe you could squeeze a large plate in there. Again, I haven't really messed with it, but in terms of every other sizing, this is the length that I have this back strap at to go all the way around my body. And this is how much more length I have. I could double the amount of length that this strap has if I needed to. So if I'm wearing heavy clothing, if I was wearing a plate carrier under this, any number of reasons. And I'm not a small person. I have about a 45, 46 inch chest, about a 38 inch waist. I'm about 6'3", and I'm about 250 pounds. So the fact that this rig has this much room to accommodate a guy my size and still have plenty more to go, I don't think you're gonna find somebody who's too big for this rig. Maybe someone who's too small for it. If you've got a skinny little frame, maybe it would be a little awkward having these pouches kind of wrap around you, but for me and my size, it's perfect. I love it. And then beyond just even the back strap, you also have the shoulder straps can go. I've got this much more room on here, which is probably another 4 or 5 inches, and it even sits a little low on me, so I could hike that up just a little bit if I wanted to. And then the rear crossbar here for the shoulder straps is elastic. So on top of the fact that you have this much room to adjust it, you can also have the elasticity. So I can run this in all the way, keep those shoulder straps nice and tight on my back. I like having them, a little higher up on my shoulders. And you still have that elasticity so that it moves with you and you never feel like you're being choked or constrained. So the sizing and the fitment of this rig, I think, is one of the greatest assets to it, because once you combine that with all the padding that's on this thing, you can have a shit ton of stuff on you and practically forget that you're wearing anything. It's really quite something. If you've never tried on one of these rigs fully loaded, properly sized to you, it's kind of a treat. And then for even more adjustability of the length of the shoulder pads, or shoulder straps, you have even more length of Velcro here that you can bring these shoulder pads up and down in relation to the rig, and you can do all kinds of stuff for sizing. Basically, you have 6 sizing points on this rig. You have the front of the shoulder pads, you have the rear shoulder straps, you have the wraparound back strap, and you have the top cross strap, or you could just take that off and run it as a Y harness if you really want to, but I prefer the bar with this just because of the shape of the shoulder pads, as you can see. So you have more than enough flexibility to size this rig for pretty much any person wearing anything under it. The other nice thing about this rig is that, all things considered, it's not that expensive. You can usually find these for about $190 in multicam or something like $160 in one of the solid colors. JTQ Gear, that's what they have them priced at. And I think I got mine on sale for like 140 shipped one time when they were running a sale, which was awesome. So for the price and the comfort and the versatility, is there any reason not to recommend it? Like I said, it's a big rig. The fact that it fits me with very little adjustment and that I find that it sits perfectly might tell you that if you're a smaller person, it might be a little awkward. I know actually my buddy Lane from the BB Warrior isn't really using his that much because he finds that for him, it's just a little bit too much, which I could totally understand. But like I said, if you're me and you're bigger and you don't mind that it's a lot more stuff, as long as it's really comfortable, this is a super solid option. And the fact that if you want to have a Russian setup, or in my case, a super Farby pseudo-Russian setup, this is one of the rigs that you can use, is really great. Now, usually, I'm going to talk impression briefly. If you're trying to get a FSB look or a proper Russian Mark II setup look, you would want to have the khaki molly instead of the multicam webbing here. But I don't care that much. Tasmanian Tiger switched several years ago to using the multicam webbing. The JTech and the ANA still use the khaki or brown webbing. I don't care that much, so I just grabbed the Tasmanian Tiger because it was the original. It was readily available, not super expensive, and as I've just said in the entirety of this video, super high quality. So I guess that's the end of this video. If you are looking at a Tasmanian Tiger Mark II chest rig, I would recommend you get it. So all told, I guess those are my thoughts on the Tasmanian Tiger Mark II chest rig. I recommend it a lot. It's a great rig, and I hope you found this video helpful and informative. So until next time, I'm eHouse from Gun Gamers, signing off.